Now, this morning here on the Promise FM, I'm excited to have Ben Richter with us from the group The Museum. Good morning, Ben.
Hey, thanks so much for having me today.
Hey, not a problem. Now, where are you calling us from?
I am from lovely Oklahoma, where it is at least warm. It's like 75 degrees, so...
Yeah, you're making us jealous.
Yes, I'm not complaining and not trying to rub it in, but...
That's
not too
okay.
bad.
That's okay. Well, for those who don't know, the museum, you guys are, at least on the national scene, a relatively new group. How long have you guys been around?
We started the band right at about 3 years ago, and then have really just been doing this full-time for about a year and a half, and that's when we had the chance to go in and start recording our first debut album, and the record is released at the end of last summer, so it's been out for about 7 or 8 months now.
Okay, where are you guys based out of, or where were you from?
We are all based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a Texas native and transplanted to Georgia about 5 years ago, and that kind of led to us starting the band to our local church in Atlanta.
Okay, so you guys all went to church together?
Yeah, it was funny. It kind of pieced together over a couple of years. But I first met our guitar player, Jeff, when I lived in Texas. And I got a call to take a job as a worship leader in Atlanta and decided I was going to go and move there and everything. And I called Jeff one day and just said, hey, man, I'm moving to Atlanta, and for whatever reason, I think you're supposed to come with me. And sure enough, like a week later, he calls me back. He said, I'm in, man, let's go. And we were both, we're 22 years old at the time, and didn't have anything tying us down and stuff. And he was up for a change, and so we moved to Atlanta. And our first day there, we were leading worship at the church on a Wednesday, and we needed a drummer to join us. And it turned out the janitor at the church was a drummer, and he just stepped up and started playing drums with us, and we were like, oh, wow, he's actually incredibly good. So that kind of is where we all first met, was right there at our new church in Atlanta.
Wow. That's one of those stories you go, can that really be true?
Well, the church, before going there, they're like, oh, yeah, we got this great drummer that's the janitor at the church. And I was like, I'm not so sure about this, you know? Yeah. And sure enough, we get there, and he's this great guy paying his bills through college, doing maintenance at the church. And so we've been great friends for about 5 years now, and doing the band for the past 3.
All right, very cool. Now, where'd you guys come up with the name The Museum?
Well, it was Josh, who's the janitor, that came up with the name. Right when we were starting the band, he went on a trip to Romania, and they were actually a communist nation until 1989.
Okay.
And he had the chance to go visit the Revolution Museum. And what that does is it told the story of how communism was overthrown, and that was by just a group of about 10 Christians. They were meeting together publicly and started praying, which was completely against the rules of communism.
Sure.
And so through those prayers, that led to protests and riots, and over 2 weeks' time, communism was overthrown in their nation. And so Josh was pretty amazed by seeing this in the museum, that, just these few people could stand up for what they believed in and literally change their nation. And he was so impressed by that and said, you know what, God, that's what we want our ministry and our band to be about. And he came back, and right away we said, we're going to be called The Museum.
Oh, very cool. So what kind of things you guys been up to lately? Obviously, probably out on the road touring.
Yeah, right now we're doing our first headlining tour. Last year we went out on our first national tour and opened up for Cutlass and had an incredible time with those guys. And now we had the opportunity this spring to try out our first tour on our own. And it's been a really neat experience. We've partnered with an organization that's called Not For Sale Campaign. And they're based out of California, but they are reaching all across the globe into literally over 100 countries right now to fight against human trafficking and global slave trade. And so through that partnership, we kind of came up with the idea to do this tour and go out and really spread that message of how people can take action to fight against trafficking. And so we've also got another band with us. They're called Rapture Ruckus, and they're a band that's on our same record label, and they're all the way from New Zealand. And they've been incredible guys to have out on the road. We've had a really good time with them. So we had 2 shows in Oklahoma the last 2 days, and are heading down south to Texas, playing in San Antonio this weekend.
All right. Well, very cool. Now, to wrap up, tell us about this. The new song we're playing. It's called Never Look Away. Kind of give us the inspiration for this song.
Yeah, Never Look Away was a song that I sat down and wrote in 30 minutes in my living room. And it's funny, as a songwriter, some songs seem to take months to write, and some just hit you like that. And that was a song where I had really been praying for wisdom and direction in my life as I was kind of at a crossroads. I felt like I knew this girl was the girl I was supposed to marry, and I was praying for direction and confirmation from God that it was time to ask her. And kind of all I had felt was just like, gosh, I don't know the answers. I don't know anything. I was kind of freaking out a little bit, and then felt like God just completely revealed his will to me in that moment. And I was just so mindful of how even when we can't see things, when we can't see the answers in front of us, that he truly sees everything, and that his eyes are upon us. He never looks away from us. And so I wrote that song, and a couple weeks later went and asked my now wife to marry me, and so we've been married about 2 years now.
Ah, very cool. Well, Ben, thanks for spending time with us here this morning. That's Ben Richter with the museum. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Appreciate it, Patrick.